For the fourth play of Christmas, my favorite game gave me Angry Wanda, Nebula and Drang, Rocket and the Hood, and a Mac, and 8 scary minions. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone. Welcome back to the 12 Plays of Christmas. My name is Josh, and this is the fourth play of Christmas. I'll be taking Scarlet Witch, one of my 12 favorite heroes, against Spiral, one of my 12 favorite villains, probably. Haven't played her a ton, actually, but I'm just so excited about all the new Mojo scenarios. I wanted to bring one of them into this series, and Spiral, I think, is my favorite one out of the three so far. We are going to be trying out Spiral in Expert, which I have not played, so I don't know what difficulty to expect from her. And we're playing Scarlet Witch in Aggression, which is unusual for me, but I wanted to play the aspects evenly spread across the 12 plays, so this will be the first of the Aggression plays, and I'm glad it landed with Scarlet Witch. I think for my play style, I'll still be able to play the way I like, even if I'm using the red cards. Now let's take a look at the deck. Of course, we're playing Scarlet Witch, so we're taking all the Mystic cards. So we have 3 copies of Spiritual Meditation, as well as, of course, the Sorcerer Supreme to give us +1 hand size in hero form. Chaos Magic is part of Wanda's kit, and so I always like to bring some expensive cards, since that'll let me play them for free. So I have Nick Fury, Avengers Mansion, Quinn Carrier, and Psylocke are all really nice targets for Chaos Magic to get into play. Psylocke's going to help us get to Alter Ego once in a while, because Wanda makes really good use of Alter Ego. And then, since we're playing Aggression, and the way Spiral works is she's only vulnerable to damage at certain points in the game. So I want to be able to hit her as hard and fast as I can when she is vulnerable. So we've got a Martial Prowess to help pay for a lot of damage events. We've got 2 copies of Browbeat. Since we're playing an Expert, this will do a minimum of 4 damage and might do 5 to the villains based on their stage number. I have 3 copies of Relentless Assault because there are a lot of really big minions in this deck. I'll show you what we're up against here in a minute, but there's a lot of pretty good sized minions. And then, because I'm hoping to flip to Alter Ego and back pretty frequently, bring a couple copies of Surprise Attack to get some big chunk damage. And of course I'm a Mystic, so I'm bringing Magic Attack and get 5 damage out of this for 1 resource. Then we've got a few allies. I grabbed Brawn just because I made such a big deal out of him when I did the ally overview recently, and I've never really used him, so I thought, well, I'm playing an Aggression deck, I should grab him and give him a try. Sunfire, because Spiral does have a couple of annoying attachments that she might get, and he will help me deal with those. And then I have Crew Quarters, just because I pretty much always bring that, especially if I'm going to go to Alter Ego a few times. And then just 1 power in all of us, 1 power of Aggression, and the 3 energy cards and Wanda's cards. So pretty straightforward Aggression deck. I don't really have any combos or anything particular in it. I just want to be able to do as much damage as I can when Spiral is vulnerable. And the way that works is she's a double-sided villain. It says she cannot take damage or be stunned, and threat cannot be removed from the main scheme. So when she's in her escaped form, we're not even really fighting her. She's just running off. She's away from us. We're trying to capture her because for the story of this, we're trying to get some information out of her. And she actually doesn't even attack in this form. She only schemes. And the main scheme goes up to 15. So there's plenty of room on it, but it can go up pretty fast. And while she's in this form, we can't remove threat from it. But there's going to be this deck of cards over here that we're going to be searching through, and one of them is this cornered card. And when we find the cornered card, that flips her over to her cornered side, and then she's vulnerable to damage. She'll start attacking us, but every time she activates, she gets a teleport counter, and when she gets so many counters, she's going to turn back over, and she won't be vulnerable again. So we want to really, when we get her on this side, and she's going to have 15 hit points to start the game, we want to be able to do a lot of damage quickly. So like I said, no special combos here. It's just a pretty straightforward Aggression deck. We're just really hoping to do a lot of damage and manage the board. And then the way this deck works, we actually need to pick one of these. The Mojo scenario pack came with 6 modular encounter sets, and we're using 3 of them for this game. The Western one, the Fantasy one, and the Horror one. They're all themed after different TV genres. And we're going to start with one of these environments in play, and they basically provide a constant effect that's going to alter the state of the game while it's in play. And once we pick which one of these we're starting with, we'll go with this one. So we're starting with the Fantasy one, a game of Mojos, sitting on a very weapony throne. And it says that each player gets +1 hand size, so that'll be nice. And it gives an Amplify boost to the villain. So that is going to be in play, and then these other 2
along with the cornered card, get shuffled together. And then I'll show you here in a second, there's a side scheme that if we remove all the threat from the side scheme, we can flip the top card of this deck, and it's either going to be another show environment that's going to change the state of the game a little bit, or it's going to be that cornered card, which is what we're looking for. So there's this Search for Spiral side scheme. It has 3 threat on it, it's permanent, and it says that after the last threat is removed from here, the player who removed that threat reveals the top card of the show deck and then puts the 3 threat back on. And alternatively, you can just choose to take 2 damage to remove the 3 threat from here. So if we ever want to do some searching and we don't have any threat removal handy, we can always just choose to take some damage, which is a pretty clever mechanism for the heroes that aren't so good at thwarting. So we're going to be doing that a lot, and we hope to find the cornered card pretty regularly so we don't have to work too hard to find her. And then we just flip this over. It's going to start with 1. Like I said, it goes up to 15. If it completes, we just lose the game. So I'm really excited to give this a try. I don't know how hard it's going to be. I don't know how good my deck is going to be. I guess we'll find out. Let me get the deck shuffled up and we will get started. All right, just real quick, I want to show you what we're dealing with the encounter deck. So the fantasy has some really big minions like the dragon, and there's a troll and a goblin as well. It can be really scary. And we've got the horror has cultists. We got the western has the gunslingers. There's the Kraken is also a really big minion, and the werewolf pack. So we've got quite a bit of fighting we're going to be doing in this one. A vampire. Of course, we have both of Wanda's obligations. Apparently the advances were tucked together, and of course, long shot. So, should be a pretty good fight. Brought lots of damage to hopefully deal with it. What I didn't pack was any extra threat removal. I'm really relying on Wanda's cards to be able to handle the threat from removing it from here, and also occasionally taking the 3 off of that. So I might have been smart to bring a little bit more thwart than what Wanda just has on her own, but we will see how that goes. So I do get +1 hand size to start the game, so I'm actually going to get to draw 7 cards, which is pretty darn cool. Now what I'm really looking for is I'd really like to see Chaos Magic. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I got a Crew Quarters, Power of Aggression, Browbeat, Magic Shield, Hexbolt, Martial Prowess, and Relentless Assault. So I can't currently damage Spiral. So Browbeat, for example, isn't very interesting because I can't use it on her. There are no minions in play, so I don't need Relentless Assault. Now the Power of Aggression can pay for Martial Prowess, so that'll be nice. And I'm probably not going to get attacked this turn, so I don't think Magic Shield. It's too early for Crew Quarters. Okay, this isn't a great hand. I'll hold on to Hexbolt just because I pretty much always like having a Hexbolt. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to really dig. Hope to get a Chaos Magic to go with like an Avengers Mansion or Nick Fury. Just something expensive to get it right into play for free. So we're going to draw back up to 7. We get Psylocke, and I really hope I get a Chaos Magic. There's only 1 in the deck, though, so we'll see. Magic Shield 4, Hexbolt 5, Power in all of us 6, and Surprise Attack 7. So did not get the start that we wanted, but thankfully Wanda's Alter Ego has the ability Superpowered Siblings. I can discard 2 cards from my hand to draw 2 cards, and if I happen to have Quicksilver in play, I get to draw 3 cards instead. So I can ditch a couple cards in the hopes of finding something a little bit better. Also, if you hear any banging and clanging in the background, my wife is making Christmas cookies, so we're adding on an extra layer of Christmas spirit in this episode of the 12 Plays of Christmas. All right, well, Surprise Attack isn't going to be useful, so I'm going to discard that. And my other Magic Shield, so I don't have a lot of defenses, to draw 2 more cards. Still looking for that Chaos Magic, Spiritual Meditation, and Brawn. Well, we'll just keep drawing cards. We'll play Spiritual Meditation. You can only play it if you're a Mystic. Draw 2 cards and then discard a card from your hand. So I get Nick and Avengers Mansion. So I've got all my targets for Chaos Magic. What I don't have is Chaos Magic. While I'm still in Alter Ego, I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 basic resources. Avengers Mansion for a 3rd. And Hexbolt for a 4th to bring out Nick Fury. We're going to go ahead and draw 3 cards. Hexbolt, Warp Reality, and Energy. Okay, I drew just about half of my deck there, and I didn't get the Chaos Magic, so I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Gonna flip into hero form. I've got 1 more shot at this. I'm gonna discard an Energy for 2 resources to play a Hex Bolt. This is one of Wanda's signature cards and one of my favorite cards, if not my favorite card in the entire game. What it does is it has me discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, and for each card discarded this way, we're going to look at the boost icons, and depending on what they are, we get to do different things. So we get 3 cards, and when there is 1 boost icon, you remove 2 threat from a scheme. When there's 3, you get to put a status token out. And when there's 0, you deal 2 damage to an enemy. Well, damage isn't very useful to us. So we also have Scarlet Witch's power that once per phase, when boost icons would be counted, I could discard that card and draw a different one. So we're gonna go ahead and discard this 0 because what I was really hoping to do was draw some cards. So I was looking for some 2s. So we're gonna discard that and get another 3. So we are gonna get 2 status effects and remove 2 threat. Well, we'll go ahead and remove 2 threat from the search for Spiral because we certainly want to be doing that. And then with the 2 status effects, we can't stun Spiral, but we can confuse her. And I can have a tough. Apologies if you can hear the mixer in the background, but the cookies have to be made. And so that was all of that. Oh, and I put all those cards in my discard pile. All right. I'm officially out of ways to draw cards, so we're not going to get a Chaos Magic this turn. And now I could use Nick to remove that threat from the search for Spiral, and I feel like I want to, but if we do reveal her, I'm not really going to be able to do too much damage to her. So we're not going to get as much use out of Nick as I would normally like to because, well, yeah, we will, because then at least I'll be able to use him to block. So yeah, we'll go ahead and have Nick. He's going to thwart to take the 3rd one off of there. So now we shuffle this up and we're going to reveal the top card. It's kind of tricky to shuffle 3 cards, but I want you to make sure to know that I'm not stacking anything. And we're going to do this. Okay, so we get a new show environment. So what happens is the scheme tells us that normally, you know, if an environment card was discarded, it would go to the discard pile, but for this particular scenario, it just goes to the bottom of this deck. And so we know for sure we're 1 card closer to cornered, but we're not there yet. And then this gets 3 more threat. And then now we have the new setting. Each enemy attack gains overkill. And when a character takes damage, increase that damage by 1. Well, speaking of that, Nick now takes his consequential, so he actually takes an extra 1, because every time characters take damage, they take an extra 1. Well, I really would have liked to get Martial Prowess out, but I think what I'm going to do is pay these 4 resources to bring out Psylocke. Now she gets 2 psionic counters on her, and when I attack with her, I can confuse whoever I attack. Well, Spiral is currently confused, so I'm not going to use her, but at least I have her in play. And I'm going to hold on to this Warp Reality for the villain phase. And we're going to take another crack at finding Spiral. So we're removing the 4 threat from here, having Psylocke thwart and Scarlet Witch thwart. So we're going to reveal the top card of the show deck again. And it is cornered this time. So we just do what it says. It says when revealed, flip Spiral to her cornered side. If she has a when revealed, it will trigger, but she doesn't yet. So now she goes to her cornered side. And then it says reveal the top card of the show deck. So now the Mojo files is coming out. This gets discarded, and then these all get shuffled back together. So now cornered is shuffled back into here. Set that aside, and this always gets its 3 threat back. So now we have the Mojo files in play. Each minion gains Quick Strike. That's not good. There's a lot of minions in here. Each ally takes -1 consequential damage after attacking a minion. And that is what that one does. So Psylocke will take 1 damage. Spiral's still confused. But at least she didn't take 2 damage because of the other card. And that is all I can do. So we're going to ready up. It's pretty cool that we got Nick Fury and Psylocke on the table in the first turn. Not going to complain about that. I'm holding on to Warp Reality for the villain phase. I can potentially cancel a troublesome card. And then we're going to be drawing up to 5. Get Strength, Magic Attack. Oh, that's good. We really want to see some damage. Try to hit her while we can. A Queen Carrier and Sorcerer Supreme. Well, we got good cards. Not a lot of damage, but that's okay. It's early in the game. We have time. All right, so it's the start of the villain phase. We put 1 threat on the main scheme, so it's up to 2 of 15. Now Spiral is attacking us, and we're just going to throw Nick in front of it because that's what you do. And so she's attacking for 2 plus 0. That will be enough to defeat Nick. And now it says that after she activates, you place a teleport counter here. And then once she has 2 of those, she flips back over. So you basically only get a couple turns, or really only 2 activations. So if she schemes or attacks us right here, she's going to flip right back over, and we will never have had a chance to damage her. So it just depends. So let's see what our encounter card is, if that's going to happen. It is not. Oh, we do get a troll. It has toughness. It takes 1 additional damage from each card with a printed mental resource. That's kind of a hallmark of the fantasy monsters. They're all weak to a certain element, which is pretty neat. And when you defeat them, the player who defeats this minion may put 1 ally from their discard pile into play. So you basically get rewards, you get loot for defeating the fantasy monsters. However, he does have quick strike because of the Mojo files right now. So he's just going to come right out and hit us for 2, and I'm just going to let that hit my tough. That is the end of the first round. So starting out on our turn, I could have warp reality that troll, but I really like its when defeated text, so I actually wanted to keep it in play. All right, so what I'm going to do here is we need to take care of this troll. I'm going to attack it for 1 with Wanda to knock off the tough. And then this isn't really what I wanted to be using Psylocke for, but we're going to have her attack it as well, and we are going to use one of these counters to steal a little additional damage. So it says, when Psylocke attacks an enemy, remove 1 psionic counter from her to confuse the enemy and deal a damage to it. It's confused, it's not going to end up mattering. So that deals 1 damage to it, but since that was a card with a printed mental resource, it takes an additional damage. And then she attacks it for 1. And then again, he takes an additional damage from the mental resource. Because those were 2 separate instances of damage, I'm pretty sure he would take the extra damage both times, so that's how I'm going to play it. But either way, I could still kill it because I'm going to use a Warp Reality to play Magic Attack, and I'm going to hit it for the remaining 3 damage. And with Magic Attack, you can only play it as if you're a Mystic, and then I discard cards from the top of my deck for each damage I want to deal, up to 5. I want to deal 3 damage. So I'm going to lose 1, 2, 3 cards. I don't mind really seeing any of those go. So the troll is defeated, and then the player who defeated this minion may put 1 ally from the discard pile into play. Well, would you guess who I am going to grab? We're going to get Nikki Fury back out. Psylocke needs to take another damage, and we're going to draw 3 more cards with Nick. Get Molecular Decay. Ooh, that'll be nice damage. Genius to help pay for it, and Spiritual Meditation. All right. Well, let's go ahead and play the Spiritual Meditation. Draw 2 cards, Relentless Assault and Hexbolt. Wow, I was just never going to get that Chaos Magic, was I? And I have to discard a card from my hand. Well, we'll discard the Relentless Assault because there are no minions left to attack. Oh, and Psylocke would have not taken that consequential damage from attacking a minion because of the Mojo files. Neat. Okay, now I know I probably should be hitting Spiral right now because I can, but I've got some really good setup cards in my hand, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and do my normal play style of setting up instead of going straight after the damage. So I'm going to do 3 resources for a Quinn Carrier. That's just going to help us pay for stuff for the rest of the game, so we really want to get that out. We're going to do 2 for Sorcerer Supreme, so now we'll have an extra. I'm going to tuck that under Wanda, save space. We'll have an extra card in our hand every time we're in hero form. And then we're going to have Nick take the 2 threat off the main scheme because we're not going to be able to thwart that all the time, so we want to do that when we can. And as much as I want to take advantage of that confuse, since I have Nick in play, I'm going to stay in hero form and let him take the hit. And then she's going to flip over, and then we'll just go from there. So I have a Hexbolt in my hand that I'm not too attached to. I'm just going to discard it. We're going to ready everything up. We got our Quinn Carrier. All right, going to draw 6 cards now that I'm in hero form with the Sorcerer Supreme. We get Browbeat, Quicksilver, Molecular Decay. There's the Chaos Magic, Sunfire, and more molecular decay. So we've got all our damage, but she's about to become invulnerable. Go to the villain phase. She gets 1 threat on the main scheme, and now she is attacking us. Again, throw Nick in front of it. Attacking for 2, 3. That will be enough to defeat Nick. She gets her second teleport counter, so she's going to flip back over to her escape side. Now we can no longer remove threat from the main scheme, and we can't damage her again. We're going to have to hunt her down through the search for spiral, find that cornered card again. And our encounter card is the Kraken. Whew. He's got 6 health per player, so just 6 health in this game. 0 scheme, 2 attack, and after he attacks, and after he activates you, each other character takes a damage. So he'll hit me, and then he'll hit all my allies as well. But when you defeat him, each friendly character heals 1 damage. He's a friendly Kraken. Maybe we eat him? I don't know why you heal, but I'll take it. All right, well, we definitely need to kill the Kraken. That's not even a question. To start out, we're going to use Chaos Magic. Play a card from your hand, ignoring its resource cost, but then I have to discard cards from the top of the encounter deck equal to that card's printed resource cost. So we're going to use that to bring out Quicksilver. You can ready him once per phase, so basically just like his hero form. And then we have to discard 4 cards from the encounter deck, because Quicksilver costs 4. We're going to use the Quinn Carrier and a Molecular Decay to bring out Sunfire. He has a response that allows you to discard villain attachments, but we're just bringing him out now for the damage. We're going to have Sunfire attack the Kraken for 2, and we're going to have Quicksilver attack it for 2, ready, and attack it for 2, for a total of 6 damage to the Kraken. So he's gone. We've got our 3 allies in play. We're just going to use Wanda to remove 2 of the threat from the search for spiral. And then we're going to flip to our alter ego form. We're going to use our alter ego power to discard 2 cards from our hand. And since Quicksilver's in play, we're going to get to draw 3 back. So drawing the last 3 cards of my deck, which is going to get me an encounter card. We get Magic Shield, Agatha Harkness, and my crest. So 2 of my important setup pieces, the Crest and Agatha, were on the very bottom of my deck. But we got there pretty quickly. We drew so many cards on the first turn. We got through our deck in just, what is this, the 3rd turn? Wanda will definitely do that, especially when you play Nick Fury twice. All right. So now we definitely want to get Agatha into play, so we're going to discard the Magic Shield to bring out Agatha. She's my alter ego support. I can exhaust her to look at the top 3 cards of my deck, put 1 in my hand and the rest on the bottom of my deck in any order. We're going to go ahead and do that. So I get to look at the top 3 cards. Avengers Mansion, Molecular Decay, and Molecular Decay. Okay, one of these is going to my hand, and the other's on the bottom of my deck. Well, whichever one I take, it's not really going to matter, I don't think. So let's just, I want to keep the Molecular Decays in the deck because I'm going to want to draw those eventually. So we're going to put those on the bottom and try to remember that they're there. And then I'm kind of a weird spot. I have my crest and the mansion in my hand. Kind of tempted to hold on to both of them because the Chaos Magic got shuffled back into the deck. So there's a decent chance I could, you know what, I'm going to hold on to the crest and the mansion. Normally hold on to 2 cards, but it's not that big of a deal. And we're not going to use Psylocke for anything, so we're just going to ready everything up. My card's kind of in a weird order. And draw up to 6. So we're always hunting for Chaos Magic when playing Wanda, Brawn, and Relentless Assault. Still no luck there. All right, across the Mojoverse, getting 1 threat. Spiral wants to scheme, but she is confused. And there are no other cards in play, so... Oh, and I just noticed, and it's not too late to fix this, each ally takes -1 consequential damage after attacking a minion. I forgot that again. So Sunfire and Quicksilver, all those attacks on the Kraken We're completely free of consequential damage. That's incredible. But I did forget the Kraken should have attacked me. Okay, well, we're catching up. So the Kraken would have attacked me for 2. And he would have put another damage on Psylocke because he damaged all our other friendly characters. Okay, I think we caught everything up. Hopefully I remembered everything. I'm not as familiar with these cards, so I'm kind of missing some of these triggers. But I think we caught them all because these guys weren't in play yet when he came out. So that should be right. All right. So she tried to scheme, and she couldn't. And now we have 2 encounter cards. All right, where are we at? We got Wanda's Obligation. Well, I'm already in Alter Ego. So I can either just exhaust, which I probably will do, or I can discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck, and we might put a bunch of threat in the main scheme. Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. So I'm just going to exhaust to remove that from the game. And the other one is Erratic Teleportation. This is going to surge. And it says if Spiral is on her cornered side, which she is not, so if Spiral is on her escaped side, you may spend a mental resource to look at the top card of the show deck and put it on the top or the bottom of that deck. Oh, that is a really cool effect. I'm just going to go ahead and spend the Quinn Carrier for a mental resource. We're going to look at the top card of the show deck, and it is not cornered, so we're going to move it to the bottom. Very, very cool. But that does surge into the card shark. This thing is ridiculous. It's got 7 health. It has quick strike thanks to the Mojo files, but I am an Alter Ego, thankfully. It says after he attacks me, discard the top 3 cards of my deck, and I might take some indirect damage depending on resource icons, but thankfully I'm an Alter Ego, so don't have to worry about that. Okay. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff, but it's because there's so much going on, and I actually love that. Like, it's so cool, all the different effects. It can be a little bit difficult to keep track of them. Like, this is incredibly beneficial. You know, he would have hit me for 3 if I hadn't been an Alter Ego, which would have been bad. But now, you know, I can have all my allies just attack him, and they don't take consequential damage. That's incredible. That is a really fun effect. And then, the flip side is he gets Quick Strike. Okay. Well, we're in Alter Ego. And we have Quicksilver, so we can discard 2 cards to draw 3. But before we do that, we're going to use Agatha to look at the top 3 and add 1 to our hand, put the other 2 on the bottom. Well, Relentless Assault would be a really cheap way to deal with the card shark. So yeah, I'm going to take the Relentless Assault because I know I could attack him with these guys, but if I do get to flip her over, I would rather have them put their damage on her anyway. So I'm okay with just using a Relentless Assault to try to blow him up. So now that I've done that, I did put those on the bottom, right? Hex bolts? Yeah, okay. I'm going to use her Superpowered Siblings ability to discard 2 cards from my hand to draw 3 cards, which is going to be... Man, I really like all the cards in my hand, but I've already got 3 allies in play, so we'll discard Brawn as much as I want to give him a try. And actually, I already had a Relentless Assault in my hand, so I guess we'll discard that too. And I get to draw 3. Spiritual Meditation, Surprise Attack. Oh, that'll be potentially nice. And Magic Shield. Keep not finding Chaos Magic when I want it, but we're going to keep digging. Spiritual Meditation, draw 2, discard 1. Nick Fury, and Spiritual Meditation. Then I have to discard a card. I'm going to have plenty of blockers, so I'll discard a Magic Shield. Spiritual Meditation, draw 2, discard 1. Power in all of us. And Chaos Magic. Ooh, we dug and we dug and we dug and we found it. We're going to discard Browbeat for that Spiritual Meditation. All right, we're finally going to move into hero form. All right, we are going to have Psylocke attack Spiral. It doesn't say she can't be attacked, she just can't take damage. And we're going to remove the counter. We're just going to confuse her. It's not going to deal any damage to her, but the main thing is I want her to confused, and that is going to cause Psylocke to leave play. Then we're going to play Chaos Magic to play Nick Fury for free, discarding 4 cards off the deck. Gunslinger, Goblin, and Master Plan, so we lost 3 minions. We get to draw 3 cards. Genius, Strength, oh boy, and Relentless Assault. Okay, we've got all the money in the world. We're going to use Power in All of Us and another double to bring out Avengers Mansion. Draw another card, because this is just what you do, is why I love Wanda so much. I love drawing all these cards, and she just makes it so easy to do. All right, now while the Mojo Files is still in play, we're going to have Quicksilver attack twice and Sunfire attack once to deal 6 damage to the card shark, but we don't take any consequential damage because we're attacking a minion. I just continue to think that's amazing. And then we're going to have Nick thwart the last threat off the search for Spiral to see if we can find, is the top card cornered? It is not. Okay, so Mojo Files goes on the bottom. Wild Mojo comes out. Now each enemy attack gains overkill, and when a character takes damage, increase that damage by 1. Okay, so we've seen that before. And that gets 3 threat again. Darn it, I really was hoping to find her. Got so much damage in my hand, I wanted to point at her. So what I think I'm going to do, since I know that cornered is the next card, I'm going to go ahead and use the ability to take 2 damage. I'm going to go down to 6, and we're going to flip the next card off of the show deck, and it is cornered. So we're going to flip Spiral to her cornered side. And we reveal the top card of the show deck, which is going to be a game of Mojos. Then these get shuffled back together again. So now she's vulnerable. We're going to see if we can't hit her as hard as we can. And while Mojo's in play, we get +1 hand size, so we'll actually have 7 cards in hero form. Not going to complain about that. And Nick takes a damage. Oh, actually, he took the damage. He would have taken 2 damage because that Wild Mojo was still in play. All right, we're going to use Surprise Attack and a Relentless Assault to pay for a Relentless Assault. Deal 5 damage to a minion, and if you paid for it using a punch resource, which we did, it gains overkill. So there's only 1 health left on the card shark, so we're going to hit him for 5. 1 will finish him off. The other 4 goes to Spiral. We finally damage her down to 11. Then we're also going to pay these 3 resources to play a Molecular Decay, deal 5 damage to an enemy, and discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. And for all the boost icons, I get to deal extra damage, and I still have Wanda's ability to discard 1 if I want a better one. So we're doing 5 plus 4 more is 9. That is amazing. And that one is 0. We'll go ahead and discard that one.
You will live to regret that.
Because she's at 11, so if we can hit her for 2 more, then that'll finish off this form. And that's 2 more. So we hit her for a total of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage, bringing her down to 0. That was amazing. Thank you, Dragon. So we defeat her form 2. And the other one is going to come in on the cornered side, which says that when revealed, she's going to attack each player in player order, even an alter ego. So she's going to attack us immediately, and I have no blockers. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm at 6. Actually, she could kill me here. I did not think this through, and I didn't have the, and I already used my power to discard a, yeah, if she gets a 3 boost, and this is amplified, 4, I'm dead. Whoops. That was not smart, but you know what? That's how it goes sometimes. I was at 6, and she hit me for 7, dropping me all the way to 0. And you know what? I'm happy to take that loss. We're just going to call it there. That was really fun. It is getting late on a work night, so as much as I would like to play this again, I don't think I should. But I think we still got a pretty good game out of that. I got to do a lot of cool stuff. We got to see pretty much everything Scarlet Witch can do. And we saw how Spiral worked. You know, because really, if she hadn't killed me there, I would have had Nick to block. We would have gone on to the next turn. I would have had 2 more turns. I think we just would have seen more of the same, and I would have probably beaten her. My next hand, Browbeat, Hexbolt, Warp Reality. I would have had 7 cards in my hand, and yeah, Magic Attack for 5. The Hexbolts could have done damage. Browbeat would have done damage, yeah. So I was probably one turn away from winning, so I think it's okay to call it there. I could have done 17 damage for sure if I had just survived. So, oh well. Let's get to some present opening. All right. I said this was the 12 plays of Christmas. I did not guarantee the 12 wins of Christmas. I'm just still laughing at how that all turned out. You know, I hit her so hard with that dragon flip and was able to knock her out in one shot, and then she just turned around and returned the favor. I think that's really cool. Spyro lives another day, and, you know, I'll try again sometime in the future. But speaking of the future, let's see who's going to be next. We'll do the villain first this time. I don't know about you guys, but losing just doesn't bother me. That was a really fun game. Yeah, let's do this one. This will be fun. You know, as long as you get to do the things you wanted to do, you know, I got to play most of my cool cards and got to see what I wanted to see. And I would have won next turn. I'm certain of it. I had the warp reality in my hand, so I could have canceled the encounter card, and I had nicked a block. So I was one turn away from winning. So that was a fair fight, and Spiral just got the better of that one. So we are looking at, Sandman. I'm such a fan of the Sandman scenario. I think this is just one of the coolest ones in the whole game, and certainly one of the best ones in the Sinister Motives box. Just the whole sand thing, you know, that city streets constantly building up, and, you know, you really have to manage that. If you don't, the game will get away from you. It's just really, really fun. And normally he rolls with the Down to Earth modular encounter set, which I'm not that big of a fan of, actually. It's okay. But I'm really, really excited to see who we are going to end up with instead. He already has Rhino in his deck normally, and then he's also going to get, the Symbiotic Strength one. This one, this mod set is so cool. It's just got a little bit of everything. It has these extra activations, these swinging assaults, which are really scary because it'll even pull you out of alter ego form to attack you. And it's got the little symbiotes, and it's just got a lot going on. So this is going to be really, really fun. And I think this will definitely make it more challenging. Sandman can be pretty tough, especially, you know, I think I'll have to see who the hero is if I'm going to play this one in Expert or not, because this is actually a decently challenging mod set, and he's not easy in Expert. He hits pretty hard, so we'll see who the hero is before I decide which way I want to play it. Oh, the box is slowly getting smaller. This was the fourth one, halfway through the month. We're getting there. Okay, let's see who this hero is going to be. All right. Are you ready? It's Storm. Yes, the first, but possibly not last of the X-Men. Storm has really, really grown in my hero rankings. That she's already in the top 12. Now, I, as a person, am very subject to recency bias. I get really excited about the newest, coolest thing, and she is literally the newest, coolest thing. But I do just really, really enjoy her. The weather deck, the way you get to swap the cards for free, as opposed to, say, Doctor Strange, where you have to, you know, pay to do the spells, or it's also similar to Spectrum, but you have to, you know, play an event to switch the forms. With her, it's so easy just to swap in and out of the weather forms. It's really, really cool. She's got a lot of fun cards to play. And I think she plays well in any aspect. So let's see what it's going to be. Leadership. All right, this is the second of our leadership games. We can definitely do... The X-Men play really, really well in leadership, so it shouldn't be too hard to come up with something fun. So then the question becomes, do I think Storm and Leadership will be strong enough to take Sandman and the Swinging Assault in Expert, or the Symbiotic Strength, rather? Well, I think we're going to try it, and then hopefully when I sit down to play that game, if I have a little more time and it doesn't go my way, if I'd had more time tonight, I probably would have played that again. Yeah, I think Storm and Leadership should be strong enough to handle Sandman and Expert. We'll give it a shot. So that'll be our game for next time. In the meantime, I just want to continue to thank you for joining me. This has been such a blast, just getting to play all these games and using all my favorite stuff. Obviously, that's just such a gift. And it's a blessing to have you guys with me. Just the comments, the likes, the subscribes, just everything is just so exciting. And I just really appreciate all the kindness that you guys continue to show me. So I hope you'll be excited to join me next time we get up in game. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.